Okay, good morning class. So today we're looking at the Sansuzi 2018. No? Where's the year on this thing? There's no year on here. This is November. Which year is this? 2018 Sansuzi grade 10 paper 1. In this video we will answer probably more than half of the paper today. Okay. At this point, you guys have answered these questions already. So this is the third paper in which we have answered now. For paper 1, this is the third paper 1 we're answering. So I'm just going to pick up the pace here so that we can finish as much papers as possible with understanding. Okay. So let's go. The first question. We are given question 1. Give the next term of each of the following sequences. So how do I move from 5 to 9? I added 4. Then I add 4. Then I add 4. If I add 4, I'm going to get 21. Not so. The next one, how do I get from negative 4 to negative 12? Subtracting 8. Not so. Am I right? So you subtract 8, I'm going to get negative 36. The next one, we got 1 and a half, 1 and 3/4, 2, 2 and a quarter. So how do I move from one to the next? You're adding a quarter, not so? You all agree with that? So in other words, 2 and 2/4 is going to give you 2 and a half. You all agree with that? So that's the answers they're looking for there. Let's look at the next one. We are told that dark tiles D, light tiles L are used to create a pattern on the floor. The first 4 patterns are shown below. For the pattern that follows, the tiles are arranged in a similar manner. So we have 1 dark tile, 1D. We got 3D. We got 3, 4, 5D. And here we got 4, 5, 6, 7D. The light tiles is 0L, 1L, 3, 4L, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9L. You all agree with that? So, how many dark tiles were used in pattern 5? So, which makes it the next pattern. So, you are adding 2 all the time. Not so? So, it's going to be 9 dark tiles. 90. Not so? How many white tiles or light tiles are used? So, yeah, going 1 to 4. 1 to 0 to 1, 1 to 4. So, in other words, here I'm adding what? Here it was 1, 3, 5. So what was I adding in the next pattern? 7. So that's going to give us 9 plus 7 is 16 light tiles. Does it make sense, people? Is there any confusion? Let's look at the next one. Yes? Sorry? Oh, pattern 6. Thank you. So I made a mistake. I just assumed it's going to be the next one, which is wrong of me. I shouldn't just assume. So that's going to give you 16 L. Huh? The next one is going to give you 25. The 25 light tiles. Is that correct? Thank you to that one. Next one. Given the number pattern, 6, 15, 24, 33, write down the next term in this pattern. So how do I move from the first to the next term? I'm adding. How do I move from there to there? You're adding 9. Then 9 again. Then 9. If I add 9, I'm going to get 42. Correct? Determine the nth term of the pattern. So the Tn is equal to 9n. So remember that is term 1. If n is 1, 9 times 1 is 9 minus 3 is 6. That's your general term. Otherwise, we can say that Tn is equal to a plus n minus 1d. Your a value is 6 plus n minus 1 times 9 is 6 plus 9n minus 9. It's going to be 9n minus. Either one gets you 2 marks. Okay, you all agree with that? Any confusion? No. The next question, calculate the 20th term of this pattern. So you look at the 20th term, n is now 20. That means to say if this pattern continues, what number lies in the 20th term? So that's Tn is equal to this here. So it's going to be 9 times 20, which is 180 minus 3 is 177. Do you all agree with that? Right. Which term of the pattern is equal to 267? So the nth term is 267. So which means to say if I carry on with the sequence, there will be a term that is equal to 267. So Tn is what? 9n minus 3 is equal to 267. Take a 3 over. 9n is equal to 270. Divide by 9. So it's going to give you 30. Therefore, T30, the 30th term, is 267. Any confusion here? No? Not yet. Let's look at the next question. In the next question we are told, question 2, simplify the following completely. Simplify. Suppose they have been factorized. The sum doesn't belong to this type of question. Not so. It's a factorization question. Am I right? Okay, it doesn't fit in. But okay, we know they want you to factorize. Okay? So the instructions should have been under the factorization part. But this is actually the difference of cubes. Not so. So that's going to give you the cube root of 64x cubed. 4x minus 1. So square the first term, what do we get? 16x squared. That's negative, so there goes positive. 4x times y, 4xy. Plus y squared. People, the nature of this trinomial will never factorize, ever. Okay? So now you should check for roots there. The next one, in 2.2.2. We need to change that to multiplication, so we'll tumble and times that. Not so. So at the bottom you're going to have, I'm going to take out 4x as a common 4 as a common factor. I'm left with x squared plus 4. You all okay with that? Here, what type of factorization there? Difference of 2 squares. So it's going to be x squared minus 4, x squared plus 4. You all agree with that? X squared minus 4, x squared plus 4 over 16x. Now what? Okay, cancel, not so. So x squared plus 4, x squared plus 4 cancel. The x is cancelled, the 4 is cancelled. So what are we left with? X squared minus 4 over 16. Or I could have factorized this with the difference of 2 squares here on top. It's going to give you x plus 2, x minus 2. You don't have to do that, but if you had gone, no problem. You're not going to get extra marks there because why? It doesn't cancel out anything. You guys understand? Alright. Let's look at number 3. 2.3. So what needs to be done here is that I'm going to break up and factorize. Now I know many of you can do it without the step, no problem. It's just a little difficult for me to do it. Let's say that for now. There's 3n times 3 to the 4 minus 6 times 3 to the n times 3 to the 1 over 7 times 3 to the n times 3 squared. Now what? What do we look for on top? A what? Common factor of 3 to the n. Although I know that 3 to the n plus 2 is a common factor, or 3 to the 9 times 3 to the n. So I know that. Okay, but I'm just going to take 3 to the n out as the common factor so that I can simplify with the denominator. I can cancel out. So what happens is 3 to the n cancels. That is 81. 6 times 3 is 18. So it's 81 minus 18 over. That is going to be 9. 7 times 9 is 63. Now 81 minus 18, I think it's 63. I could be wrong, huh? 7, 6, 1, 63. So it's 63 over 63, which is? Any confusion here, people? Any confusion? Any questions at this stage? No. Next one. Again, look here. What type of factorization there? The sum of cubes. X plus 1 square, the first term is x squared. This plus, so there goes minus. X times 1 is x. Last term squared plus 1 over x squared minus x plus 1. What do you notice? Cancel. Not so? Gives you x plus 1. Any confusion? No. Let's carry on. What needs to be done first here? Factorize the denominator. So we can find an LCM. Difference of two squares apply there. What's your LCM here? What's your LCM, people? X minus 3 squared x plus 3. You all agree with that? Any confusion there? X plus 3 must be squared. Micronation? I wrote the question. Okay, no problem. So, you got x minus 3 squared, x plus 3. So what must this be multiplied by to get the LCM? X minus 3. So it's 3 into x minus 3. What must this be multiplied by? X plus 3. So I'm going to get 2 into x plus 3. So again we multiply the stop out here. Get rid of the brackets. So it's 3x minus 9 plus 2x plus 6 over x minus 3 squared into x plus 3. Do not multiply out the denominator. Okay? Never, it doesn't make sense to do that. So 5x plus 2x is going to give you 3x plus 2x. It's 5x. Minus minus 9 plus 6. Minus 3 over x minus 3 squared, x plus 3. Okay, you all agree with that? Any confusion? Any questions? Sorry? Any questions here regarding these sums? No. That brings us to the end of question 2. 14 marks in the bag. You see how easy it is to get these marks? Huh? It's easy. No? If you do it often, it becomes easy. Alright? Solve for x. Equations. So what type of sum is this? Quadratic. So it becomes 15x squared minus 14x minus 8 equals 0. Your trinomial, is there any common factor? No. So we must go with the product line. Factors of 15 goes here. 1 and 15. 3 and 5. For 8 is 1 and 8. 2 and 4. I know there's easier ways to do it. Okay? But this is the foolproof method. Any fool can get this right. No? You just follow the steps. Alright? So if we add or subtract the products, subtract it. So that's going to be 15 minus 8 is not 14. That is going to give you 30 minus, no, not going to work. That's 24 minus, that's 19, not going to work. 12 and 10, not going to work. So what do I do? Sorry? Swap one of the sets of factors around. So let's swap this one here. So it's 15 and 1, and 5 and 3. 15 times 8 is a very large number. That's going to give you 60, very large. So that's not what we want. Okay? Just take these lines out here. Let's go here. 5 times, that's going to give you 20. No. 5 times 8, 40. No, that's not going to work. That's 20 at 6. 20 minus 6 is 40. Not so. So it's a 5 and a 2 in a bracket, and a 3 and a 4. So there's x squared, so x and x. What about of signs? Both must be negative. No. One negative, one positive. The bigger one must be? Bigger one must be negative. So that's going to give you 6x. That's going to give you 20x. 20 is definitely bigger. Not so? So 5x plus 2 equals 0. So x equal to negative 2 over 5. Or 3x minus 4 is equal to 0. So x equal to 4 over 3. Okay? So try and know there, people. The next one is your exponential equation. So in your exponential equation, the basis must be the same for your exponents to be equal. So 125 can be written as 5 cubed. You bring that up. So 5 to the x equal to 5 to the minus 3. Therefore x equal to negative 3. Any issues here? No. Next one. The following inequality is given. Solve for x in the inequality. So there's a double barrel with two-way. The 4 goes both ways. So it's negative 2x. Has to be greater than 10 minus 4, but less than 16 minus 4. So negative 2x, 10 minus 4 is 6. 16 minus 4 is 12. So what do I do now? Divide by negative. What happens when you divide by negative? Negative 2. The inequality is going to swap around. 6 divided by negative 2 is negative 3. And 12 divided by negative 2 is negative 4. No, negative 6. So, is that correct? So that's x is then greater. Now, the proper way of writing this, if you want to rewrite it, is as follows. Remember, the smaller value is always on the side of the inequality. Okay? But if you had left it like that, we would have given you the full mark anyway. You see how nice we are? We just want to give you the... Yes? Sorry? Yes, absolutely. See, the dog must bite you more. Right, you all agree with that? Thank you, my dog. Right? If it was somebody else's dog, it would have made sense why the dog bit you. Sorry?
There was a thunderstorm and it was...
A thunderstorm?
Yeah.
Oh my word.
It's just when it was like rain and thunder and stuff.
You just put the TV loud and put in front of the TV.
He's an outdoor dog.
An outdoor dog?
Yeah, he's too big to be inside.
What kind of dog is it?
It's a cross between a pit bull and a wiener dog. I don't know how that happened.
The dog is just busy in your area. But it's okay. Alright. Sorry. Right, represent your answer to question 3.2.1, which is the previous question on your number line. What are the critical values? Or the important values? Negative 6, negative 3. Negative 6, get the open or close circle. Close. Why? Inclusive. Negative 3, open circle. So we read, x must be more than negative 6, but x must be less than. Right, you all agree with that? Right, next. Question 3.3. Jinan is currently 5 times as old as her sister, Nabila. So currently we have a Jinan, the Nabila story. So which one is younger, Nabila or Jinan? Huh? Nabila. So you made the smaller one x. So Jinan, 5x. So that's 5 times. In 6 years from now, this is present, in 6 years time. So Jinan and Nabila. How old will Jinan be in 6 years time? 5x plus 6. Jinan? Nabila, sorry? It will be x plus 6. Jinan will be 5x plus 6. In 6 years from now, Jinan will be 3 times as old as Nabila. So, Jinan and Nabila. Whatever Nabila's age is, must be multiplied by 3 to get Jinan's age in 6 years' time. Make sense? So how old is Nabila currently? In 6 years' time, sorry. It's 3 into x plus 6. Jinan, 5x plus 6. So now it's just a matter of solving for x. So it's 5x plus 6 equals 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 6 is 18. 5x minus 3x is 2x. 18 minus 6 is 12. Divided by 2, 6. What's the question? Calculate Nabila's current age. So therefore Nabila is 6. Any issues here? You all okay with this, no? Right, graphs. I was hoping to get to this point today still. Graphs. So we're given f of x equal to 3 times 2 to the x, and g of x is equal to 3 over x plus 1. What type of graph is f of x? Not everybody at once. Exponential. Okay. You guys are just quiet here for something wrong. Then g of x equal to 3 over x plus 1. What type of graph is that? Hyperbole. Right. For a neat graph of f of x and g of x on the same system of axes, or set of axes, use the given diagram sheet. Indicate clearly all intercepts with the axes and also the asymptotes. Okay. So it wasn't given to you, it was given in the exam. Okay. So let's go with it. So you got y and x. So x-intercept, what do we do for x-intercept? X-intercept, we let y equal to 0. So 0 is equal to 3 times 2 to the x divided by 3. The 2 to the x equal to 0. Can we solve for x here? No. Which means to say, no x-intercept. But we know that this plus q value, that is your horizontal asymptote normally. But what is the equation of this horizontal asymptote? Is nothing here. So that is 0, not so. So the horizontal asymptote is y is equal to 0, which is actually on this x-axis. Which means to say what? The x-axis is the horizontal asymptote. You all agree with that? So here you would have written no x-intercept. Okay? But there's nothing wrong with us yet, so we're not going to draw a dotted line and a solid line. Okay? You're not that crazy. Right. Now what do we say? Now remember at the back of our mind, this is an asymptote. This x-axis is an asymptote. Okay? So we now work. Y-intercept. What do you do for y-intercept? X equal to 0. So f of 0 equals 3 times 2 to the 0. Anything to the power 0 is 1. 1 times 3 is 3. So you're going to cut your x, your y-intercept at 3. Now what? This exponential graph could do that thing, or it could do this here. We know that that is greater than 1, so it's going to be this one here. Now say we didn't know that. Okay? Which we don't. Most of us don't know. No? Who of you knew the graph is going to go that way? Besides one person. We don't normally think like it. Not so. There's too much to remember. No? We just want to do calculations. So, what do? We say let x equal 1. By letting x equal to 1, we get f of 1 is equal to 3 times 2 to the 1, which is 6. So this other point is 1 and 6. So x is 1, y is 6. And there's the graph coming through like that. And this is your f graph. Okay, you all agree with that? You guys okay with that? Right. Let's look at the other graph. The g of x graph. The g of x equals 3 over x plus 1. This has two asymptotes. There's a horizontal asymptote at y is equal to 0, which is on that line there. Why? Because this denominator can't be 0. Otherwise the sum will be undefined. And it has that's what do you call that asymptote, you? Standing up straight. Vertical asymptote. We have a horizontal asymptote at y is equal to 1. You see that, people? That's the first thing I draw in. My asymptotes there. If that's 3, then 1 is approximately here. Y is equal to 1. You just take this out here. Right. So remember there's two asymptotes, no? Y is equal to 1 and x equal to 0. Now, we know if y is equal to, if x equal to 0, there's no y-intercept. Not so. That's why we didn't know that. Okay, we say y-intercept. What do you do for y-intercept? Then x equal to 0. Then you got g of 0 equals 3 over 0 plus 1. Problem? No y-intercept. Not so, people. What do we do thereafter? Yes, x-intercept. What do you do for x-intercept? Then y equal to 0. So 0 is equal to 3 over x plus 1. Now what? Solve for x. Take the 1 over. It's negative 1 is equal to 3 over x. Cross multiply. So x equal to negative 3. No. Not so. So there's 1, 2, 3. No. 1. Okay. You see, this is positive here. So the graph is going to lie in quadrant of 1 and 2. 3, sorry. Remember that is quadrant 1, 2, 3 and 4. This here is your quadrant 1 and that is your quadrant 3. Can you see that? Your quadrants is divided by your asymptotes. Okay? It's not divided by the x and y intercepts or axis. Alright? So we know the graph is going to come through here. So we just let the graph do that there. And the graph is going to do this here. Okay? So what we do is, if you want to, because this is of importance here, I want to see how close to this graph it will be. So you can say let x equal to 1. So if x is equal to 1, you've got g of 1 equals 3 over 1 plus 1, which is 4. So that is 1 and 4. So if x is 1, y is 4. Can you see that, people? So the graph is going to come close there, but do not touch. So there is the g of x graph. Label the graphs, don't forget. Label the graphs. So I'm going to write this here so that we can move that, what's the name, up there. No? So f of x equal to 3 times 2 to the x, whilst g of x equals 3 over x plus y. Okay. Okay, any confusion at this point? Which question is this? Question 4. Okay. Yes?
I just thought that the 4 marks, if we just put down the coordinates of negative 3 and 0 and 0 and 0.
Yes. I was telling you. We just want to give you marks. Unless the question says, besides the axis, you must have another point on the graph. He didn't say that. It just says draw a neat sketch on the same system, given the diagram sheet, indicate clearly the intercepts with the axis, also the asymptotes. So by that information and what you are asking, 100%. However, if that said, accompanying another point, or given another point other than your axis with the intercept with the axis, then you're compelled to give that 1 and 4 and 1 and 6. Does it make sense, people? Hello? Yes, okay. The next question says, determine the value of k if g of negative 2 is equal to k. Let's go purple. G of negative 2 equal k. People, the g of x graph is defined as this here. So whenever I see a x, I put a negative 2. Does it make sense? If I say x up to negative 2, so it's 3 over negative 2 plus 1 equals k. But in the calculator, I should get negative half. Is that correct? Huh? Yes. Okay. Let's look at the next question. 4.2.2. Here we ask f of k equals 24. So wherever I see an x now, I put a k. Can you see that? So f of k is equal to 3 times 2 to the k. Make sense? So it's going to be 3 times 2 to the k is equal to 24. So what do I do first? Divide by 3 both sides. So 2 to the k is equal to 8. However, 8 can be written as what? 2 cubed. Therefore, k is equal to 3. Any confusion here? No confusion? .3. .3 says, you take this off here. Give the equation of the asymptote of f of x. It's an easy question. Why did I ask you something else? I would have asked you a reflection question. Did I say this? Huh? I would have asked a reflection question. Huh? Or a transformation question. Did I say this? Because I'm anticipating a reflection question. That's why I'm asking. Okay, so the asymptote of f, the equation of the, you see this is the asymptote here, not so. So what is the equation of this? Y is equal to 0. Okay. 4.4. 4.5. Pull this up. Normally I run out of space. Yeah, I've got too much space. Here's the reflection question. How's it? Right? 4.4. Give the domain. What's the domain of G? What is domain? All possible x values. Does this graph go to negative infinity on x? Yes. Positive infinity on x? Yes. So x is an element of all the real numbers. However, x is not equal to 0 because that is the asymptote at 0. Not so. 4.5. Determine the equation of h of x. If f of x, so I must refer to this diagram here. F of x is a reflection about the y-axis. What's the rule if something is reflected in the y-axis? Y-axis, what's the rule? X becomes negative. Not so? So if I affect that change there, it's no more f of x. I say y is equal to 3 times 2 to the minus x. And since it's the equation of h of x, I say h of x is equal to y is equal to 3 times 2 to the minus x. Another way you could have written this is h of x is equal to 3 times 2 or half raised to the x. That's the same or equivalent answer to what you have. Any confusion there, people? No? Let's look at question 5. Right, we'll look at question 5 tomorrow. Okay, so at this point I've given you this and Susie 2018. Did I give you 2017? This is the 2018 paper. Okay, I sent you the 2018 paper. Start working on that paper so long. Okay. People enjoy the rest of your day. Good morning, class.